Hello, folks. Uh, Today we're going to talk about. I can take these glasses off. I don't need those. I'm going to talk about carburetors and fuel tanks on, well, especially small machines like the garden tractors and things like that. There's two types. There's the motors with, well, carburetors, but we're talking about motors and the motors that have a fuel pump on them. And there's the motors that have the tank is higher than the motor carburetor. And everything's gravity fed from the tank. You're less uh, apt to get problems with the gravity fed tanks, like when the tank is higher than the carburetor. But if the float sticks, you're gonna flood the engine, and the all the gas in the tank's gonna end up eventually in the crankcase of the motor. Like the gas will bleed down if the float sticks open. The gas will bleed down into the crankcase of the motor, and well, you won't be able to start it. That's or if you start it, it's not good. Okay. The other one is the one with the fuel pumps. Now I had well, it's in the back there is a generator. It was a Onan, was it single? It's single cylinder. Big, probably no, the cylinders maybe this size. I don't know, maybe. But it's a nice generator. It used to be for a motorhome, eh? Anyways, it had a fuel pump, but it was a mechanical driven fuel pump. Like there was a lobe on the cam or the crank, probably the cam, and there was a lobe, and that would cycle a diaphragm that had pump gas. But the newer engines, they've how you say that, vacuum assisted your fuel pump. The fuel pumps are driven by the vacuum. So before the pump starts pumping, you have to build up vacuum. Then the pump starts pumping. And if your tank is lower, like my tractor here, Toro in the back, the tank's under the seat. So it's got to pump up to the pump and then eventually into the carb. It was a hard start. Okay, now the problem's been solved and I didn't record this, but I was thinking maybe this had helped some people that are having a hard, the things are taking time to start. Uh, I don't think we're going to try it, okay? So we're going to see if it's still hard starts, but the last I seen, even if it's parked for a few weeks, there it starts pretty easy. Like it doesn't turn 10 times, 10 revolutions before it's getting the gas to start. Because face it, if you got gas, it'll start if everything else is in the order. But if you don't got gas, you'll just keep turning, okay? And so it wasn't starting, eh? And my train of thought was, it's gotta be starved for gas, and it eventually starts. So the gas, the tank being lower than the fuel pump and the carb, the gas drains back into the tank, eh? And why does it do that? Okay, so the only reason why gas would drain back in the tank, if this doesn't, if the little hoses there, if it's got an air leak, the gas it'll drain back eventually into the lowest part. So what I did, well, hang on, I'll take you guys with me, and I'll be jiggly a little bit here, and I'll have to turn that camera on as we go here. uh, I'll show you. This is the Toro, eh? The Toro with the, whoa, which with the snowblower, which reminds me, Noel's firewood and garden tractors. See this here? Well, you're gonna have to go back. See this this drive for the chute here? It's driven by I think this is a wiper motor that I bought on Amazon, and it's just 12 volts. I have a chunk of hose, and between the two, this part here, well, hang on. Now, put some light on things. This part here is original, and then I have a hose in between the other, and this here is it's a wiper motor that comes. I sealed it around the wires there with silicone so it didn't spoil with the weather, and it's been working well for me. I made this bracket, and hang on. Oh, here, this is the fuel pump here. Hang on. Can you see the? Oh, I don't know. It'll be hard to see, eh? See the? Hang on. I don't have enough hands. See, there's a right here, right where my finger's pointing. There's a, oops. There's a tie wrap, small tie wrap, and then there's another one up at the top. And so both sides, that's the feed part to the carb, and that's the pipe going to the tank at the back. So all I did was close, put tie wraps. Make sure these are not your normal everyday no good tie wraps, eh? These are the good ones. Hang on, I'm taking my lights off because I'm gonna go and try this. See if it's gonna give it some choke. Not too much. All it was a fuse. Hang on. I know I'm covering a lot of topics here this morning, eh? It was the fuse that was loose. It was just loose. Hang on. Putting all sorts of stuff away here. Yeah, the fuse was loose, and it wasn't. Well, the voltage regulator was acting up, and I didn't know why, but eventually by poking around I found out why it was acting up. It was just loose and it wasn't making contact, and you gotta get good contacts. Anyways, that's not what this video is about. This video is about if you have a machine that's hard starting, check your and not the gravity fed carburetors with no pump, but if you have a fuel pump, if your rubber lines are just bleeding a little bit of air through, the gas is siphoning back to the tank, so you're always starting off, even like this year, just like I'd park it. The same day was easy start. The next day, I'd crank it 10, 15 turns before it start. And you heard it start there, and that hasn't started, I think, 3 days now. 3 days. So it starts good. And all it was is the gas was bleeding back to the tank. So it's something to check. If you got a machine it's got a pump. If the pump's in, these pumps are diaphragm. If the diaphragm's in good order, then and your carburetor, the level of gas in the carburetor should stay the same. Okay, shouldn't bleed back. If your needle in the bowl is sealing, so things will stay full of gas and it'll be easier to start. If it's hard start, I check, make sure you're getting these little clamps that they put on these, these little, well, you seen them there. All I did, I left the clamp there and I added a small tie wrap. But these are the good tie wraps with the stainless steel lock on them, And I don't know that you'd get a good grip on with the cheaper ones. But anyways, that's it for this one, folks. I just thought of that because I seen some people on here, not mentioning no channels or nothing, but with gas machines, diesel's a complete other story. But a gas machine that's a hard start, and if it's got a fuel pump, well, maybe you check that, and it could be that's the problem. Okay, that's it for this one, folks. I was going to say, they ain't going to get better than this. Okay, there's probably stories coming soon, As usual, this is your chance to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.